Hello and welcome to the premiere edition of Chelmsford News with Tom Christiano. Before we begin this 30-minute show, I wanted to tell you a little bit about the genesis of this show. As many of you know, I'm the managing editor of a group on Facebook entitled Chelmsford News. And right now we have over 13,200 subscribers to that Chelmsford News page on Facebook. And I also have two other people who help me manage that page. So lately I've been posting many videos on Chelmsford News on Facebook, videos of things going on around town, like the March for Our Lives and the debates and things like that. And my good friend Janet Askenberg and a former selectman suggested to me that I put together a show entitled Chelmsford News. Since I'm doing many of this taping anyway, might as well put it together into a cable TV show. So I thought that was a great idea, and I ran it by the director of Chelmsford Telemedia, Pete Padula, and he also thought it was a great idea. So now we're starting to put together these shows, and they'll be shown on Chelmsford Telemedia and on YouTube, and I'll also post them on Facebook. So that's how we came up with the idea for this show. And the lineup for this show is first we're going to have a speech by a wonderful Chelmsford High School student and one of the organizers for the March for Our Lives event, which took place on March 24th, 2018 in Chelmsford Center. And that speaker's name is Isabelle Cole. And so we'll start the show with the video of Isabelle Cole speaking at the March for Our Lives event, which is an event to kind of encourage more sensible gun measures throughout the country, not just here in Chelmsford, of course. After Isabelle speaks, we'll have a video that I taped of the march itself, the March for Our Lives on March 24th, 2018. I took it from the vantage point of Academy Road in Chelmsford Center, or Academy Street, and you could see all the marchers filing by, and there was estimated crowd of about 1,000 or more marchers that day, of people who came to that event. It was a huge success, and everybody did a great job who organized it and spoke at that event. So after the marchers, we're going to show a debate with the school committee members that took place on March 22nd, 2018. And that school committee debate was hosted by the Chelmsford Republican Town Committee. And the two school committee candidates who are running for the one school committee seat are Donna Newcomb and Jamie Outland Brown. After that, we'll show a video that I taped of the selectmen candidates, George Dixon and Laura Merrill, who were also at that Republican Town Committee hosted debate. The third candidate, Emily Antle, wasn't able to make it that night at that particular forum. And there are two open seats this year for that Chelmsford Board of Selectmen. And George and Laura are both incumbents running for re-election. And Emily is a new candidate this year running for selectmen. And after that, we have a short video that I taped on March 23rd, 2018 at the Chelmsford High School Performing Arts Center. And it's a tape of this wonderful high school band called the Backseat Experience playing a Led Zeppelin song. And before I end this introductory section, I'd just like to read a quick quote. I plan to have a quote on in the beginning of every one of these Chelmsford News shows. And this quote is about service, public service to your community, in my opinion anyway. This is a quote by Dr. Wayne Dyer. Many of you are, I'm sure, familiar with Dr. Dyer. All of your acquisitions and achievements can't go with you. Therefore, the only thing you can do with your life is to give it away. You'll find yourself feeling purposeful if you can find a way to always be in the service of others. Purpose is about serving. It's about taking the focus off of you and your self-interest and serving others in some way. So now let's begin the show with Isabelle Cole speaking at the March for Our Lives event in Chelmsford Center. Ciao.
Evil, it seems to be all around us, and we don't know what to do. The places that used to be safe are no longer. Our movie theaters, clubs, cafes, and yes, even our churches and schools are no longer safe. So tell me, legislators, how do you respond when going out with your friends turns into the end? What can you say when the people in the cafe, they get led astray? What do you do when your sanctuary becomes a cemetery? When your classes are now filled with ashes? Although thoughts and prayers, they might help, I'm pretty damn sure they're not going to make a change. It's not enough, and we have had enough. I'm tired of being fearful of who's going to be busting into my church while my eyes are closed in prayer. I'm tired of having to fear going to the movies, even when I'm not seeing a horror film. But most of all, I'm tired of the fear that suffocates me while I'm sitting in class trying to focus on math. I'm tired of legislators saying that more guns will solve this gun problem. Mental illness is not the problem. Angry, troubled people are not the problem. Lax gun laws and loopholes that allow people to obtain semi-automatic weapons are the problem. The lack of in-depth background checks are the problem. The fact that suicidal and homicidal individuals can keep their guns is the problem. So what can we do? For those with mental illness, we must not arm them with guns. We must arm them with love and treatment. For our children, we must not arm them with guns. We must arm them with love and a voice. For parents, we must not arm them with guns. We must arm them with love and cultural security. For our teachers, we must not arm them with guns. We must arm them with love and safety trainings like Alice, so their students aren't sitting ducks. For our legislators, we must not arm them with money and agendas from the NRA. We must arm them with love and knowledge and ears to listen. To listen to the children crying, the families weeping, the gunshots ringing, the buzz of Facebook arguments, of careless tweets, to all the talk, to the millions marching here today, to the students calling for a change. Legislators, listen to us. Next time you take in that filthy money, I want you to remember the 17 from Parkland, the 58 from Las Vegas, the 49 from Orlando, and the other thousands in the past decade. And after you've done that, if you don't feel sick to your stomach, are you truly thinking and praying? Because that's the bare minimum. So I ask you, legislators, is 7,000 lives the sum of the cost of your mistakes and your desperation for funding? Clearly, we are going to have to make that change ourselves. It seems that those in Washington care more about that check than our country becoming a wreck. We must pave the way for our lawmakers. That's why we need vital bills like the Extreme Risk Protection Orders, or ERPOs, is. People that are at risk themselves or others should not have access to a firearm, plain and simple. As easy and rightful as it may seem to blame this all on our legislators, it's us too, yes, me and you. We need a culture change. We need to love one another. I know that doesn't solve everything, but it's a start. Could these acts of terror have been prevented? Yes. Should we be upset that they weren't? Absolutely. Should we turn to our elected leaders and question, why did you let this happen? Yes. Is it reasonable to get pissed off at our president for getting funding from the NRA? Without a doubt. And at the same time, we must radiate love. The only way this movement is going to work is if we do it together. I'm almost done. promise. This is not a Republican problem. This is not a Democratic problem. This is not a conservative problem. This is not a liberal problem. This is an American problem. We must stand up hand in hand because enough is enough. For as MLK said years ago, darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. Again, this is only the beginning. Our work begins today. We have a lot more to do, ladies and gentlemen. So, please, I ask that you all take out your phones. Yes. To keep involved and to keep marching and to keep working towards this agenda, it's going to be an uphill battle. But you all are here today because we're taking the first step right now. I'd like you all to text the number 81010 and type in the message at our march, all lowercase. The Chelmsford March will be updating you as we are all going to be having some future meetings because, like I said, this is the beginning. We want to see you all not just today, but next week and the week after and the month after because nothing's going.
Say it again, please.
Yes, sorry. So the number is 810, also on the sign, and we want you to text the message at our march, all lowercase letters. Okay, so with that, you can keep updated. We will be sending you our next courses of action, and thank you all for coming. So we have some other speakers as well.
Hey,
Ready for another one? Yeah! No more silence and gun violence! 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 No more silence and gun violence!
Enough is enough! Enough is enough! Enough!
yep. Well, I kind of moved, but
You're not gonna knock us down. We'll get back up again. You may have hurt us, but I promise we'll be stronger men. You're not gonna let you in. We're putting up a fight. You may have brought the dark. Together we will shine a light. Stand up and roar. We all come together. Be alright. Stand up for one another. Never give up the fight.
We refuse to be ignored by those who will not listen. There are so many things you can do to become involved. Reach out to your congressman, mail, call, and tweet.
The smallest of words can make the biggest difference. You're not gonna knock us down. We'll get back up again. You may have heard us, but I promise we'll be stronger. We're not gonna let you in. We're putting up a fight. You may have brought the dark together. We will shine the light. You're not gonna knock us down. We'll get back up again. You may have heard us, but I promise we'll be stronger. We're not gonna let you in. We're putting up a fight. You may have brought the dark together. We will shine the light. We will be something special.
It's been a nice turnout, huh?
Oh, unbelievable. What would you estimate?
700-ish.
At least, yeah, nice. Fantastic turnout. Thank
Thanks for
you.
coming.
Thank you.
NRA has got to go! Hey, hey, no, no! NRA has got to go! Hey, hey, ho, ho! NRA has got to go! Hey, hey, ho, ho! NRA has got to go!
Hey, good to see you. What a turnout, huh? Thank you. Thank you. Hey!
Working for a consulting firm
Hey, you got it. I got it. Thank you. Thank you. Hi, Gene. Hey, Dave. Hi. Yes. Hey, hello.
Army, we do a lot of team building. It is evident with the school committee now that there are some personal turbulence, which seems to be affecting the professionalism of the members. So we need to look at how can we get over that personal turbulence. And I have some ideas. First and foremost, let's sit down and talk about it. Let's put it out on the table and say our piece. What do you think of this person? What is your grievance with this person? Let's put it out there. Let's say it to each other's face. If that's not effective, let's get a mediator, right? And bring a mediator in, facilitate constructive communication between each other, but let's get it, again, let's get it out there. That doesn't work. Well, let's get inventive. I say we go down to the local gym, put on some big old boxing gloves, and let's just do a little exercise. Let's just work out the frustration. There are levels, we can make it fun, productive, but they need to get over whatever this riff is that's running underneath them, and we need to get back to our focus, and that focus is the children and the education in this district.
Thank you. Donna?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
Yeah, I will.
still have the boxing gloves in my head.
Respect appears to be absent at some of the school committee meetings. How would you bring it back by being on the school?
So I think this is really a multi-layered issue, and I'd like to go back to the social media question for a second, in that, some of the conflict that we're seeing on the school committee right now was born out of comments on social media. So I'm not saying by any means that social media should not be used to inform. What I am saying is that it shouldn't be used to sort out problems, that I think that there are more appropriate venues to have discussions that would allow all of the school committee members to participate. Because what ends up happening is you end up with a really strange dynamic, where some people don't respond and some people do, and then the impression is the rest of the people don't care, and that may not be the case. So I think that one of the things, again, we have to do is we have to go back to what are we doing this for? We are doing this for the kids, and everybody has to recommit to that we are going to make the best school system possible. And I have a lot of faith in the school committee members right now. I think that, that they can recommit to doing this. This is why they all got into it to begin with. I mean, they put in a lot of hours and a lot of time and a lot of effort on behalf of the families here in Chelmsford, or actually the taxpayers, for everybody. And I think that it's time that we, step back, we take a look at the positives, we figure out what we're going to do about some of these problems, and we have an honest discussion about what our vision is going forward, and make sure that we really stick to it.
I personally would have liked to see a question. Are you talking about the?
Well, we have some right now.
Yeah, are you talking about town meeting ballot, or are you talking about
the April 3rd, the
okay.
residents are going to have to answer some questions on the ballot itself. Which one of those maybe is most important? Are you familiar with those questions? I had to look myself.
I know, I was familiar with them until you asked me the question, and now they all seem very, so it might help if you were to tell me.
Well, one of them was tax rate.
I remember.
One of them was a 10% relief for a certain level of business.
As part of.
Right, they're basically asking.
That's
right, they're asking the population out there, the
right.
residents, what their opinion is.
I kind of consider that part of the same question. It is a two-part question, the tax classification, where in addition to finding out what people feel, whether the residents should pay a lower rate than the businesses, whether there should be a break on which businesses, whether smaller businesses would apply with that to that same standard. And I think that if we were ever to change the tax rate, I think it would be important that there be a break for smaller businesses, say under $1 million or with so many employees. I think 10 or 12 is recommended.
And George, I missed the asking you the same question about tax classification. What is your opinion on tax classification?
Well, I'm in favor of tax. I'm in favor of a split rate. I think it's about time we have it. And there's been a lot of noise, a lot of innuendos. Nobody's sat down and asked, so we put a non-binding. These are non-binding questions you talked about, right? Mm-hmm. So we just want the people to understand what the process is. And I really feel as though we're one of the only towns around here between Worcester, Boston, and say Newburyport, this area, probably 90% of the towns have split rates. Our records rate is $1.75 against, for the business against $1 for the residents. Lowell is $1.75 and they tried to go to 187. So when the people use the argument about that we lost business because Kronos moved out and because of taxes, I mean, they couldn't have been paying less taxes than they were paying in Chelmsford. However, one of the deals, one of the of that situation where they were going to go there, one of the part of the agreement was that the people that own the towers had to buy Kronos's property, and they did. So now Kronos went down and became their tenant. Those people now have come back and since sold Kronos's building for $15 million and brought a company in here. So obviously it can be done. There's 2 buildings across the street that are empty that are owned by a major company in Boston. And that company has been approached, would they sell the building? No, they want to lease it. So that tells me that they believe in this town, that they believe that this town is going to make it, and it's a great town to do business in. It's a great location, number one, you can't beat the location. We have a good workforce, we have a good school system, we have a solid town. And so for them not to want to sell it and get out and go somewhere else tells me this is Boston Properties. They have 2 buildings that are empty. Okay, so if you take the top 25 taxpayers in Chelmsford, I think there's only 2 of them that are Chelmsford residents or companies from Chelmsford. They're all from out of town.
Okay.
So I'm definitely in favor of a split tax rate.
Okay, I was trying to get to that. You're definitely in favor of
Yes, I am.
a split tax rate, so residents would pay a lower rate per $1,000
correct.
valuation.
That's right.
Than a business in town.
That's right,
This is a change in what the town's done for 20 years.
That's right.
And Laura, you would also be in favor of a split tax rate where the business would pay more?
Currently, I am not in favor of it. I think that if we're going to ask the businesses to take on some of our spending, some of our additional taxation, I think that we need to try harder to curb our spending. I think that from what I've seen, there's a big push to try to use up to the 2.5% with whatever we can. Last year, we actually had some extra money in our levy with the catch-up year, with everyone being reevaluated for their tax assessment. And instead of, you know, the answer was to try to squeeze in 2 building projects in the same year. Now here we are, everyone's saying, oh my goodness, we have $7,000 average tax bill, but it's a direct result of the spending from the that was approved the previous year.
Okay, thank you.